So, Uncle Dave, that's right. It's been a while since we've done a video about Dave Meltzer. I know, everybody's favorite subject. What are you talking about Dave? What are you talking about Dave Meltzer? Why do you care so much? Why do you care so much about pro wrestling? Why do you care so much about anything in life? Because you enjoy it. Anyway, these comments you guys leave me. And then you leave me another comment going, why didn't you approve my first comment? Stop it. Just stop it. Anyway, gotta talk about Uncle Dave here. Uncle Dave, they did a deal on Dynamite last night and it's gotten to the point where I don't even watch Dynamite fully anymore. I go online on YouTube and look at the clips just to see how bad they're doing. I'm a huge MJF fan, but that MJF segment with Jeff Jarrett last night, one word. Ugh. There you go. But they did a deal last night. It was Hobbs versus Moxley for the title. Main event last night, Moxley's hometown. And they do a deal where they go off the air and they're going to Pillman, the Death Riders, the Goon Squad has trapped Hobbs's leg in a chair and they're going to Pillmanize him. And then out comes the FTR, FTR, excuse me, man, rated FTR. And they break it up and then they do a deal when they go off the air of rated FTR killing the Death Riders or whatever the case may be. And this is what Dave Meltzer had to say about them doing things off air and not acknowledging it in their storylines. Take a listen to this.
Here's the thing. It's not on TV. It's off the air, so it doesn't count. The minute you do that, you are telling the audience that you're not to be taken seriously. And I think that that's not what AEW should be. I mean, granted, Vince McMahon did that, but people, the hardcore audience, which is what AEW is drawing from, they hated that stuff. They hated the inconsistencies. They hated the fact that like it doesn't count if it's not if it's not on the air, it doesn't count. And I think that for a promotion that is the countering of WWE, the one thing you want is more realism and storyline consistency. And if you just go in there and go, we don't have to have storyline consistency because they don't have it in WWE, it's kind of like you're ruining your whatever your differentiation is, and you're doing I just think that like, yeah, it's off TV, but guess what? We're in the internet age where all that stuff comes out anyway. So it's like, why, don't if okay, our gimmick is that the angle doesn't count once we're off TV. It's like whatever.
Well, at the end of the day, it's one time, and it might have been perhaps not supposed to be Pillmanized.
So now Dave questions whether or not, if it happens off air, it should count. And here's what kills me. Does that mean that if they do house shows, they should count? I think house shows should not count. I think house shows should be for the people who bought their tickets to see that show, knowing that it's not going to be televised. Give them something special. I have no problem giving crowds, whether it be on a televised show or non-televised show, I have no problem giving them something special after the fact when the cameras are off. And I have no problem with them not acknowledging it in their storylines. There have been plenty of times where when they've done phantom title changes or title changes at a house show, and then when they show back up on TV on Monday, the title never changed hands. There have been times like that. There have been things that have been done like that. And I don't have a problem with it if you want to send the crowd home happy at the end of the night. And for you to sit there and go, the hardcores, which is where they're drawing their audience from, have you finally acknowledged that? I think Dave Meltzer finally acknowledges, hey, that It's the hardcore fans. And it won't that we were sick of that under Vince McMahon. It wasn't that we were sick of Vince McMahon not acknowledging what happens when the cameras are off. We were sick of the inconsistencies and horrible booking, which, if you want to draw a comparison, that's what Tony Khan has become. Tony Khan, for all intents and purposes, has become the 70-year-old Vince McMahon who can't get out of his own way, who does not know how to book anymore. Not that Tony Khan ever knew how to book in the first place. Been saying this from day one. The man can't book to save his ass. There's inconsistencies all over that place. All over that place. I mean, going back years, even before they lost Cody Rhodes. Remember the time when they were at Daly's place and Cody and Penta had a little scrimmage, and we thought, oh, cool, we're going to get to see Cody versus Penta. And then the very next week it was dropped. He was going after Anthony Ogogo after that? You know, how many inconsistent things has this man done? You know, what goes on after the cameras go off, and whether or not you choose to acknowledge it, that's the least of their worries, Dave. Let's talk about a show that they're going to do in Australia that they could broadcast live on Max and still show it on TNT later that night from Australia. And they can't figure out if it's going to air. They have it booked to air. They showed a graphic. TNT that Saturday, or, at 8 o'clock. And then at the same time, nope, TNT ain't going to be airing that because they got the NBA All-Star stuff happening that same day. They don't, one head doesn't talk to the other. One head, namely the Snowman's head, is so full of cocaine that he doesn't know what is happening. He probably doesn't even know when those shows air. I mean, you got a guy who can't book to save his life, and then you're surprised. Oh, and the main thing you take away is they won't acknowledge what happens after the air. Nobody takes them seriously. I've never taken this company seriously, Dave, ever. And I love how Dave, it wasn't mentioned in that clip, but Dave acknowledges house shows with AEW. The house shows ain't drawing either. AEW doesn't run house shows, you nincompoop. You're a freaking idiot. AEW has ran what, 2 house shows in their lifetime? Actually, I take that back. They ran more than that. They tried to run house shows at the beginning of last year, and they didn't draw, so they stopped. I want to say it was the beginning of last year. Might have been the year before. They've never ran consistent house shows. They don't run house shows anymore. Go back and listen to other audios Meltzer's done. He's constantly talking about house shows. Why? Nobody runs them. So, Meltzer, once again, is off his cracker. They need to put him in a home. They need to just Brian Alvarez, you can tell some days, especially here lately, Brian Alvarez is so ready for this guy to just die so he can take over the whole thing and run it how he wants to run it and not have to work and listen and be beholden to a complete senile old fart like Dave Meltzer. And there's a rumor going around that Meltzer doesn't even own it, that there's another backer behind the whole thing. So I have to wonder, when Dave finally does kick the bucket, is Alvarez really the one that's going to take over and run the thing? Maybe then we'll stop with the AEW apologists gimmick, and we will just come back to reality, Dave. That's what needs to happen. You need to go ahead and kick the bucket so we can get back to reality. Because as long as you're there, and as long as you're out in the ether, and as long as you refuse to see what AEW truly is, it's just a waste of freaking, you're a waste of space, dude. You don't provide any real news, like with this Corey Graves thing. Well, if he's off TV and doesn't answer anything, it's a work. But if he's back on TV and he tweets about it, it's a work. It's not a work. It's called, Dave, you have no inside information on this subject, so you should just shut up about it and say, I don't know. It's okay to say, I don't know. It is okay to say, hey, I have to ask around. I don't know. But he doesn't do that. Dave just spouts his opinions off as fact. So let me know what you guys think about Uncle Dave's recent comments in the comments below. Anyway, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why is Uncle Dave out there? The fake news stories and him getting hoodwinked in the last 2 years over and over and over by people who claim to have inside information, and then it turns out he's reporting it as fact and gets proven dead wrong, like the Dragon Gate story from years ago and whatnot. It's just horrible. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We'll see you down the road.